Hey everybody, welcome to the VFR CBR hybrid build, where I'm taking this 2004 VFR 800 and morphing it into a VFR CBR hybrid. And what I really like about this bike is it has the V4 engine, which is very rare for Honda, and it's got that really unique sound. And when it's done, if you're supporting the series over on Patreon, you'll be the owner of this bike. You'll get a full set of speed and strength riding gear. And over on Patreon, I'm also doing 4 giveaways every month, so you guys want to go check that out. It's really exciting stuff. So what we're going to do today probably affects a lot of you where you've had your bike will turn over, but it won't start. Well, that suddenly happened to this bike. It started fine for quite a while, and then all of a sudden one day, it turned over, but it wouldn't fire. So I took it to my mechanic, and he's like, yeah, your fuel pump's not engaging, because when you turn the key on, you'll hear the fuel pump kick on. You'll hear a whine noise. He tapped it with a hammer to kick it free. That didn't fix it. So what we're gonna do today, gonna lift up the gas tank, and I got a way where you can fix your fuel pump for about $330 less than buying the OEM pump. So that's today's mission. Wish us luck. This is how the overall bike looks at the time. We got the whole front fairing stripped off, the whole rear end pulled off too. All that's going to be replaced with CB1000 parts. So let's do a quick recap of what we've done on the bike so far, especially for you new people. We have the Vortex rear sets. These are for a CBR. I had to make these adapter plates so those work. You can see here we got the nice single-sided swing arm. I had it powder coated black. We have a new chain rubber plate here. Had this hub here powder coated red. New sprocket, new cool bolts to hold that on. All new bearings and seals in the swing arm. Got this crazy new tire. Got a new brake disc. Had the rear wheel powder coated matte black. Got these red spikes on here. Those might go away. You can see over here we have the other rear set. Had the master cylinder powder coated red. Got this little reservoir cylinder here. Back here we got the new shock off of CBR 954. I had that completely reserviced with nitrogen and oil. And then look at this over here. One of my favorite new things. This is the new see-through clutch cover from Seb Speed, and that thing is just trick. I had it powder coated the matte black, had this powder coated the red, had that powder coated the red in there with the custom screws and everything. So that's everything we've done so far. Let's dig into this fuel pump. So this is what we have to install today. This is the pump motor assembly, and we got a new fuel pump. Now, if you were to go online and search for an OEM fuel pump for the Honda VFR 800, that's gonna cost you $395. Nobody wants to spend that kind of money for this. So we're gonna take a gamble and replace this little pump motor here, and hopefully this works out. First time I've ever done this, so we're kind of, doing it as we go. This entire kit right here costs $28 on eBay. I mean, this little fuel pump costs more than that from Quantum. This was $35. So this little kit right here comes with like 4 different types of filters. We'll figure that out. So let's lift up the gas tank and dig into this thing. I've already drained the gas out of the tank, so the only thing I got to do is just remove these 2 bolts here in the front, and the gas tank will swing up. Check out these red anodized bolts I got. I think I got these from Pro Bolt. Very cool anodized pieces. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fanatic for anodized parts. All these little red touches just add a certain quality to your builds. Then once you got that done, I usually just take a rubber mallet and I'll just jam it right here, stick it on the gas tank, done. Fuel pump's right down here at the bottom. I was going to try to do this with the fuel tank on the bike, but I think it'd be easier just to take the fuel tank off. So what I'm going to do is just remove this line here. Looks like some sort of a fuel line. There's a hose right here, and then this electrical connection has a wire going up here. And then we can just remove the whole gas tank and get at this thing much easier. So let's do that. So first I'll remove this hose right here. It's just got a clamp on it, so I'm taking a pair of vice grips to it. It's kind of hard to get at, so. Okay, here we go. Now I've got an 8mm Allen wrench here. Take off this, oh, that thing was barely even tight. Sheesh. And then we'll just undo this electrical connector here. There we go. There's a couple wires down here, another connector. We'll just pull that out and we'll lift her off. Now we just pull these 2 bolts off and she should lift right off. Alright, so we have the gas tank upside down, sitting on a towel. So I'm just going to remove these nuts right here and the pump should come right out. I'm going to mark this stud right here so I can remember where this little clamp goes. So I'll just put a mark right there. Now let's see if she lifts out of here. taking it nice and slow. I don't want to bend anything. Interesting. There's like a big rubber boot here that's getting in the way. Okay, this thing's being really stubborn. I don't know if you can see this rubber boot right here. It's just really hanging up on the edge of the gas tank here. Man. I think the boot has gotten old, but it needs to swing out like this. Good Lord. I watched a guy in a video do this and it wasn't this hard. Okay, so I took a big flathead screwdriver and just kind of pried this rubber boot out. It was really stubborn. Look at all this weird metal here that's, I don't know what that is, part of the filter or something, I don't know. Anyhow, let's just keep pulling this out. Got this little rubber hose right here. Try not to bend this ring, this metal ring here. That is coming. There we go. There she is. Yeah, this is what was really hanging up this part here. All right, let's pull off the fuel pump first. I usually just barely squeeze onto these hoses. You don't want to tear them. Just kind of give them a little twist to kind of crack them free, because after years they just get stuck on there and you'll never get them off if you don't. Oh, gasoline. Alright, that was pretty easy. The electric motor. Beautiful. Okay. Looks like we need to remove all this to get in there. So let's take this apart. Let's get this rubber boot off here. Let's see if I can get this off without tearing it. Oh, there we go. Come on, baby. So this piece here, this rubber line here goes through the middle of this metal coil. There's the filter right here. Goes into the bottom of this electric motor. And it looks like it's just, yeah, there we go. And there it is. So now we got the new electric motor. Let's pop off this little cap here. They gave me this piece of hose here. It's a little bit longer than this one here. So I'm going to cut it down, pop it on here. I mean, it's, you know, this hose is pretty old. It could break any day now. None of these screens look like the right one, so I'm just going to reuse this one, I guess. I mean, it's not in bad shape, so it's got like a little metal clip right there. Looks like you just pop that clip off. Need something really sharp to get underneath it. That got it started. There we go. Little teeny clip. And then this should just pop right off. Okay. So I'm just going to shorten this hose here with a sharp utility knife. Works better than like a hacksaw blade. Hacksaw blades kind of chew things up. Okay, so now we want to put a clamp on here. Actually, both clamps. Bring them in so we can slide the thing on. That's going to go right on here. Okay, I want to check this electrical plug here and make sure it's going to fit okay. Looks like it should. Yeah. Perfect, look at that. Now it came with this rubber piece here. I think that's some sort of an adapter, but this is the piece that came off, so I'm just going to use it again. And like I said, this filter looks great, so this just goes back on here. So you got a pin, you got this round piece here, you got a receiver hole in the hole here, so this just simply goes right back on like that. Need to put that little teeny clip back on here to hold it in place. Right in there. Get in there with some needle nose. Just kind of push it back on that stud. Okay, we got her. So, yeah, you need to get that all the way on first before you can finagle this into here. Just be careful because it's going to want to pop off. There we go. And this just slides down into the clamp, like so. And you got that like that. Now we can put this clamp on. Remember, it's got this wire here that goes on here. We got this back in place. We got this clamp back on. Just tighten this up. Make sure you get your wire here. Snug that down. Plug it back in. And this right here goes back in here. So this plug right here goes through the middle of this, like that. Just pumps out the end. And then see if you can find the hole. There we go. Pull that through. And then just kind of push this back in here as far as you can. All you gotta do now is put on the new fuel pump. We already got the new line here. This is the same old line. So we're gonna make do with that. And just push this. Get this clamp a little more out of the way. Spin it a little bit. I just want to back it up some. Come on. There we go. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Make sure you push it with your palm. That way if it slips, it doesn't slice your fingers open right here. Okay. There we go. Just the bracket. Push this back around. It just kind of bends right here. Not a big deal. Got your little teeny screw. Still got blue Loctite on it. All right, so I had to do a little tweaking to the strap right here to get the screw to come in straight. But I got it. Nice lined up now. Snug that down. And it looks like everything. Let's just really hope that this cures the problem, huh? So let's put this back in the gas tank. I sure hope this goes in a lot easier than it came out. That's for sure. Now, I don't think I bent this ring at all. I don't see any problems with it. I know a lot of people bend these, but it looks good. So we're going to take a chance. If it is bent, then we're going to have a leak, and that's going to be bad. It doesn't hurt to take a big flathead screwdriver and just kind of coax this rubber boot back into place. Don't tear it. Just kind of, and don't bend your flange, and just kind of work it in. Really helps to know how to do certain things once you've seen what's inside. You know, I'd never taken one of these apart before, so I had no idea what was on the backside. So I was just kind of wondering how to tackle it. But now that once you know what's in there, then you can just wham bam. So if you remember, there's a mark right here for this little hose clamp right here. The less you have to remember with small details like this, the better. Just kind of doing a cross pattern, like a wheel of a car. Okay, she's ready to go back on the bike. I already put blue Loctite on these two bolts, so they're good to go. Put a rubber mallet back under here. Actually, if you put it closer to here, you'll get the gas tank higher up out of your way rather than up here. So I'm just going to work backwards from when I took this apart. So we have this blue connector, and this goes into this white connector here. Okay, and then we got the what appears to be the fuel line. So you got this big bolt with one washer on it. Put it through there. Try not to drop the other washer. Another washer. Don't need to over tighten that. And then we have this smaller line here. I ended up destroying the clamp on this, so I put a little hose clamp on there. Okay. There's also a couple small hoses that go here that I didn't show you earlier when I took it apart. Pretty obvious though, I just figured they were so obvious that they had to come off. So those slide back on, no clamps on these, they just slip fit. Got a little bracket right here. You just bend it to hold them in place. And everything's dialed. Let's put the tank down. Okay, let's put some gas back in the bike. Make sure we don't have any leaks. I'm not going to put a lot in here. I just want to check for leaks and obviously use this gas to start the bike. Make sure nothing's leaking down here. Looks okay. So here's the thing, I am hoping this works. If it doesn't work, all I've really wasted is some time and the cheap cost for that little fuel pump motor, rather than just throwing $400 at this thing and hoping, you know, I imagine that would fix it, but that's $400. So even if this thing fails right now, I'll be bummed because then I'll be scratching my head, but financially, not a big deal. Big moment of truth. Fingers crossed. Hear that? That's a good sign. Didn't do that before. For some reason when I hit the start button, it's not kicking over the engine. I've taken a lot of stuff off this bike. The exhaust is off, all this and that. So I'm gonna have to research why it's not kicking over. I sat here and I looked at the bike and it just took me a couple minutes to notice. This is the kickstand sensor, so if your kickstand is down, it's not gonna allow the bike to turn over. And I got this whole thing over here disassembled. So what I need to do is get that so that's not keeping the bike from wanting to start. I'm 99% sure that's the problem. So the kickstand sensor is this piece here. It's got a wire running to the bike. The back of the kickstand has a hole in it right there. You can see. So this mounts here like that. So when the kickstand's down, it won't allow the bike to start. So we're going to put the kickstand together, starting with, we'll put the kickstand in the bracket, like so. And then we got this bolt that comes in from the back side. Make sure it's not too tight. This bolt only needs to be hand tight. It's got a locking nut on this side here. You want to make sure your kickstand is still going to rotate. A little bit of powder coating there is making it a little stubborn. That'll wear off. So then we've got the locking nut on this side here. I'll adjust the tension on that when I get it on the bike. Now if you can see there's a bolt hole right here. What's going to happen is this is going to bolt to that and go into that hole right there, just like that. See this shaft right here? This right here is going to go in that shaft, so we're just going to put this like this. There we go. And where'd my little bolt go? And we have this little bolt here that holds everything in place. Little 8mm head. It's a lot easier to put this on before you put the kickstand on the bike. Okay, so now we have the sensor on there. Okay, now we just mount this on the bike. And the spring will go on here. But see, now I have this sensor hooked up and I want the kickstand to be up for the bike to be able to start. So let's hope that works. Alright, so mounting the kickstand mechanism unfortunately didn't work. And I'm like, oh man, what is going on with this thing? So I'm laying in bed this morning, here it is the next day, and I'm like, what could keep a bike from not wanting to start? And I'm like, well, what if the bike's not in neutral? So I'm like, oh, maybe the bike's not even in neutral. So I came out here this morning, touched the countershaft sprocket, sure enough it's in gear, and I'm like, oh, thank you. So that could be the problem. So we're gonna try that right now, and if that doesn't work, we'll have to figure something else out. So let's keep our fingers crossed on this one. Turn the key on. Neutral light is on. Switch is on. Oh! Yeah, there's no exhaust on it right now. Yes, yes. Alright guys, a huge sigh of relief right now. I cannot stand electrical problems. I'm terrible with them. But she fires up, so now we can focus on the next mission. That is a wrap for this episode. I know it wasn't very exciting, but it was educational for myself and for you guys, I guess. But the next episode is going to be way more exciting. Louis Moto got me my seat cover and the gel seat kit. You can see here, we're going with a much smaller seat on this bike. This is a CBR, this is a 2019 CBR 1000RR seat. The stock seat on this bike is huge. So the whole tail end on this bike is going to be off of CBR 1000. We're going to install that gel kit and seat cover. That should be a good one. Once again, don't forget, if you want to be the owner of this bike when it's done, go over to the Patreon. Check it out, as little as $1 a video. This bike could be yours. That's it for today. See you guys next episode. Alright, so working on the kickstand. Alright, so always something getting in the way. Come on, airplane. It's not airplanes, it's dogs or lawnmowers or weed blowers. Okay. Alright, the next video is going to be very cool. Louis Moto. Oh god, okay. Now we have dogs, people talking. It's one of the things of working at home. We'll be right back.